Sometimes, the strongest kind of love is not the one that promises an easy life, but the one that stays when leaving would be easier. On the coldest night of his life, Ethan Cole stood outside an empty house with a dying dream, a loyal dog, and one promise he refused to break. Ethan had spent 7 years building a small ranch outside a town in Montana. It was not much, an old house, a weathered barn, a few acres, and a dream of building something they could be proud of. Beside him was Ranger, a golden-brown Labrador he had raised since he was a puppy. But Ranger was more than a dog. He had been a gift from Claire, the woman Ethan loved. Claire used to say that Ranger was proof that something good could survive even after being abandoned. She had found the frightened puppy near an old highway and brought him home. Ethan still remembered the first night they sat together on the porch, Ranger asleep between them. "We'll build something here someday," Claire had said. Ethan believed her. Then life began taking things away. A failed business drained their savings. A fire damaged the barn. Bills piled up, and people in town began telling Ethan to sell the property before he lost everything. Claire stayed beside him. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," she told him. But Ethan wanted to prove something to himself. He wanted to finish the dream they had started. Then, one morning, Claire received an opportunity to leave Montana for a better job in another state. It was the kind of opportunity they had once prayed for. Ethan told her to take it. "Go," he said. "I'll finish what we started." Claire hesitated. "What if it takes years?" Ethan smiled. "Then I'll wait." She kissed him goodbye and promised she would return. Months passed. The ranch became harder to maintain. Ethan worked during the day and repaired the property at night. Some neighbors laughed at him. "She isn't coming back," one of them said. Another told him, "You're wasting your life waiting for someone who already moved on." Every word hurt. But Ethan kept working. Ranger never left his side. Whenever Ethan sat alone on the porch, the dog would place his head against Ethan's knee, as if reminding him of Claire's promise. Then came the worst blow. A storm tore through the valley and destroyed half the ranch. The roof collapsed. The barn was badly damaged. Ethan's money disappeared into repairs. That night, exhausted and soaked from the rain, Ethan sat on the floor of the ruined barn. For the first time, he whispered the words he had been afraid to say. "Maybe I should give up." Ranger slowly walked toward him. The old dog placed a muddy paw on Ethan's hand. Ethan looked at him and remembered Claire's words. "Something good can survive even after being abandoned." He wiped his face and stood. The next morning, Ethan began again. He repaired one wall. Then another. He rebuilt the barn piece by piece. People stopped laughing. Years passed. The ranch was standing again, not perfect, but alive. Then one autumn afternoon, a truck stopped outside the gate. Ethan froze. Claire stepped out. For a moment, neither of them spoke. She looked at the ranch, then at Ethan. "You actually did it." Ethan smiled quietly. "I told you I would." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I was afraid you would hate me for being gone so long." "I missed you," Ethan said. "But I never stopped believing in you." Ranger ran toward Claire. She fell to her knees and held him tightly. The dog had grown old, but his tail still moved like the puppy Claire once rescued. Claire looked at Ethan. "Why did you wait?" Ethan looked at Ranger, then back at her. Because trust isn't about knowing someone will come back. It's about deciding what kind of person you will be while you wait. Claire took his hand. The dream they had started was no longer just a ranch. It had become proof that love can survive distance, failure, doubt, and time when someone refuses to abandon it. Ranger lay beside them on the porch that evening as the sun disappeared behind the mountains. And in that quiet moment, Ethan realized that waiting had never been about time. It was about faith, the courage to keep caring when there was no guarantee, and to keep building when hope felt fragile. Ethan finally understood something. Sometimes, the person who gives you strength is not the one who speaks the most. Sometimes, it is the one who simply stays beside you when you are ready to quit. True trust is not blind faith, and love is not measured by how easy the journey is. Real trust means remaining faithful to what you believe in even when doubt becomes louder than hope. But most of all, never forget the people and souls who stayed beside you when you had nothing left to give. If you were Ethan, and everyone around you told you to give up on the person you loved and the dream you shared, would you choose to walk away for your own peace, or would you keep your promise, even when waiting became the hardest thing you had done?